It's great to be here at the second annual Ivey Global Health Innovation Conference. Normally, ladies and gentlemen, I think normally it takes more than 2 years to get a reputation as a must-attend event, but that's exactly what you have accomplished here, so I congratulate you. Kudos to you as well, Carol, for your role. Many of you must know Carol Stevenson. She's the Dean of the Ivey School of Business. I'd also like to congratulate her team at the Ivey Center for Health Innovation and Leadership for once again putting together a top-notch conference. I should also say congratulations, Carol, on receiving the Order of Canada. That's obviously something that we all respect. Clearly, ladies and gentlemen, we are in good company here. I'm also very pleased to note that the conference theme this year is innovation and leadership. Today, more than ever, we need to talk and look at innovative solutions if we are to maintain a high level of patient care, the level that Canadians have come to expect. Now, as we all know, healthcare costs continue to rise. The country's population continues to age, and we continue to feel the effects of the economic slowdown that has literally gripped the world in the last few years. Solutions will come at all levels, and they require innovation at all levels, from Parliament Hill to management offices to research laboratories. Our Conservative government knows full well that science and technology plays a critical role in Canada's economic future. We believe fully that research, development, and innovation are the foundations, frankly, the building blocks of the economies of tomorrow. And it was with that in mind that back in 2006, our government developed our science and technology strategy. And Prime Minister Stephen Harper launched that strategy in 2007. And since that time, the government has taken every opportunity we've had to increase the budget in science and technology. And ladies and gentlemen, what that means is that in our last few budgets, we have added $8 billion of new funding to science and technology to strengthen Canada's advantages through science and technology, to bring new discoveries and new processes and innovations to the marketplace, to build our science and technology infrastructure, and of course, to attract and retain the brightest minds on the planet. I'll give you a good example of how we're doing this. Early this summer, we launched the new Banting Postdoctoral Fellowship Program. This is a prestigious program designed to attract some of the brightest minds and researchers to Canada at the earliest stage of their careers. And this builds on our Vaniers Scholarship and our Canada Excellence Research Chairs. We believe that investing in talented, innovative people is one way that we can work toward advancing Canada's economic and prosperity in the future. Another way that we can do that, ladies and gentlemen, as a government is by having a clear vision for promising and necessary areas of research in terms of the needs of the nation. Health and life sciences, in fact, constitutes one of the 4 areas identified by Prime Minister Harper in the Science and Technology Strategy. And it is this strategy that guides our investment protocols. In fact, it is through this exact strategy that we chose to invest $5 million in 2009 to create the Ivey Center for Health and Innovation and Leadership. And we're proud to have played a role in your activities to date. I should tell you, I think that the collaborative spirit that we are seeing developing through the Ivey Center has developed into an excellent example of exactly what our government is trying to achieve in all areas of this industry, in fact, all sectors of the country. After all, ladies and gentlemen, collaboration in all sectors, but of course, especially in science, technology, and innovation, becomes particularly important in tough economic times. It ensures long-term prosperity for the nation, as well as a better quality of life for Canadians, and that is exactly what we are all after. Now, part of that includes creating collaborative networks between researchers and industry in order to meet the big challenges of the 21st century, as well as to take advantage of the opportunities that will present themselves in the 21st century. This is particularly true of the healthcare sector. And so we have developed programs that help companies partner with our universities and colleges. This way, the private sector and the academic sector have common access to research networks, in some cases, equipment and facilities that they could not have access on their own, and of course, access for all to our young research talent. A good example of this, ladies and gentlemen, is Hamilton's Center for Surgical Invention and Innovation, one of our federal government's centers of excellence for commercialization and research. This group is working to develop a new class of robotic platforms for targeted, less invasive medical procedures. Another one of our centers of excellence in Vancouver is bringing researchers and entrepreneurs together to develop biological markers for diagnosing, treating, and also preventing organ failure. In the past 2 budgets that this government has laid forward, we have furthered our commitment to science and technology and innovation through the 2-year Economic Action Plan, which I'm sure you have all heard of. Not only have we bolstered short-term research priorities as a stimulus measure, which brings to mind our knowledge infrastructure program, worth $2 billion federal dollars and leveraged, ladies and gentlemen, it worked out to over $5 billion into our research capacity at our colleges and universities. This is just one way, but we are also investing in a number of innovative initiatives that are creating the highly skilled jobs of the future, not just today, but the jobs that we will need for the future. Now, on that note, one of our first priorities when we launched the Economic Action Plan was to establish the brand new Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, or we prefer to call it FedDev Ontario. And I was quite honored and fortunate to have been asked by the Prime Minister to be responsible for this brand new agency. I can tell you that over the past year and a bit, we have done tremendous work here throughout Southern Ontario. We have been able to put almost $500 million, in fact, it's just over $500 million onto the economic table of Southern Ontario, into communities hardest hit by the economic downturn, bolstering a number of different economic sectors, but especially in the healthcare research and innovation sector in Southern Ontario. I'll give you a good example of how we did this. You wonder how we can do this as an economic stimulus, but we were able to put $20 million to establish an international diabetes research hub and a clinical trials network partnered with the University of Waterloo. That contribution allowed us another contribution of $10 million from the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Of course, the beginning result is jobs right away for researchers, but also, as you can see, the goal of this research project is to develop an artificial pancreas, which, when built in Southern Ontario, will create hundreds, if not thousands, of highly paid, highly skilled jobs. But more important is the best side effect of this program, and that is improving the quality of life of millions of people around the globe. In fact, saving thousands, if not millions, of lives. And ladies and gentlemen, as you know, that is a great Canadian tradition. In March of this year, we announced a $10 million Economic Action Plan investment in the Kids Arm robotic surgical system that is being developed right next door at Sick Kids Hospital. This investment has resulted in some 80 new jobs for skilled researchers. It is a world-class investment which will result in the only robotic arm of its type in the world, and believe it or not, it will reduce surgical intervention time on procedures by 90%. I think these investments on their own, given their multiple positive outcomes, are innovative in themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that you can see the federal government firmly believes that Canada's economic success depends on our science, innovation, and our ability to bring those ideas and inventions into the marketplace so we can build them in our factories and market them to people around the world. So too will be the sustainability of the healthcare system. But ladies and gentlemen, as we strive to meet such great and achievable goals, we also know that the country faces some important and frankly chronic challenges. On the one hand, the good news is Canada ranks first among the G7 countries for higher education expenditures on R&D as a percentage of our economy. We have the second highest proportion of post-secondary graduates in the OECD. But on the other hand, the bad news is, in spite of these many achievements, productivity remains a big challenge for this nation, as does business investment in research and development and innovation. Simply put, we need the private sector to step up and meet their role in providing for economic stability of this great nation. And we need that, ladies and gentlemen, because as you know, and I do, that when business, any kind of business, invests in research, develops new products or services, or simply comes up with a more efficient way of doing what they have been doing, or simply adopts some of the new technologies that have been invented, it makes them more competitive. And it improves the quality of life by extension of Canadian families. And it provides economic security for our communities. It allows our economy to grow and create the high-skilled, high-paying jobs of the future. Unfortunately, while our government has provided world-leading and historic levels of support to incentive business sectors to do R&D, the return on that investment just hasn't been what we need as a nation, or, in my opinion, what Canadian taxpayers deserve. And that's exactly why, in the two-year Economic Action Plan, our government called for a comprehensive review of federal R&D to improve the outcomes in this area. Last month, I had the pleasure of announcing at the Mars Centre, also just around the corner, that we would launch a panel to conduct this review. This group will be led by a technology industry veteran, an open text founder, Tom Jenkins. Many of you will know Tom. The panel has been directed to look at these areas and report back to me within 1 year's time. The goal, of course, on this review, as in all of our measures, is to increase the competitiveness, and everyone, we believe, has a role to play in this goal. It's not just our researchers and inventors who we will rely on to improve our overall competitive. It is indeed our policymakers, administrators, and managers. In fact, we rely on all Canadian citizens to remain competitive, from teachers to teaching methodologies, from doctors to treatment protocols. All of us have a part to play. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is now attracting some of the best and brightest minds the world has to offer to come to Canada. The brain drain is over, thank goodness, and we have an enviable capacity to develop the talent and produce the discoveries that are in fact the raw materials of our innovation system. Our government is committed, deeply committed to cultivating these raw materials, but we need your help. The need to engage with stakeholders, like we have done over the past few years, including all of you here today, remains paramount for our government to move forward in the direction that's necessary for all of us. And as the world emerges from the economic recession, countries that can innovate, countries that can create a knowledge-based economy and move their products to the marketplace will succeed. The others will trail behind and be ultimately left behind. Ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to making sure that Canada remains a success story. I am deeply committed, as is the Prime Minister, that Ontario returns to its cycle of prosperity. And I look forward to continuing to work with all of you in the future to achieve our collective goals. Thank you again for inviting me. I do enjoy being here, and I wish you the very best in the remainder of the conference. Thank you very much, Kelly.